In the vast tapestry of human history, some stories transcend ordinary comprehension, tales that expose the darkest recesses of the human psyche. Today, we embark on an extraordinary journey into the depths of one such narrative, as we unravel the enigma of La Guerra Loca, the female narco who beheaded rivals but ended up beheaded herself. Welcome to our gripping video, where the line between predator and prey blurs, and the pursuit of power becomes a dance with death. The beheading. The beheading of La Guerra Loca was a mystery. It was the dire plight of 4 women who found themselves caught in the crosshairs of the ruthless drug cartel conflict, forced to their knees, and topless except for the eldest woman among them. They bear the weight of their uncertain fate, while masked gunmen, displaying an intimidating arsenal of weapons, stand ominously behind them. Their lives, like so many others affected by the drug trade, had taken a harrowing turn, leading them to a moment of vulnerability and terror. The details of their capture remain shrouded in mystery, but it is believed that they were apprehended while attempting to navigate the treacherous landscape of cartel-controlled territories. It's an unforgiving world, where alliances shift like shifting sands, and betrayal often comes at the highest cost. As we examine the faces of these captured women, it becomes evident that they are not merely foot soldiers in the cartel's war, but individuals with their own stories and struggles. Each one carried the weight of their decisions and circumstances, and their fate hung precariously in the balance. Their captors, masked and heavily armed, remained a foreboding and sinister presence, exemplifying the pervasive fear that grips those trapped in the clutches of drug cartels. These individuals, hidden behind their masks, had become instruments of terror in a larger, complex web of violence and power. Comandante Guerra, with her pink top and nervous demeanor, was a stark contrast to the brazen confidence often associated with the cartel lifestyle. Despite her bravado, she could not deny the gravity of the situation. The circumstances under which these women became entangled in the drug trade are likely varied and complex. Some might have been coerced or trapped in a life they could not escape, while others may have willingly embraced the dangerous allure of cartel membership. The atmosphere was heavy with tension and the palpable fear emanating from the captured women. This was where the narco interrogation unfolded, a twisted dance of power and intimidation. The women are subjected to a barrage of questions, their names and affiliations demanded with harshness that left no room for evasion. The masked gunmen, their identities concealed, exude an air of authority and menace, their weapons a constant reminder of the consequences of non-compliance. As the relentless interrogation progresses, the women's resolve wavers under the weight of fear and coercion. They were forced to reveal their identities and confess their connections to the criminal underworld, their voices trembling as they speak of their affiliations. Each person took her turn, their voices betraying a mix of resignation, fear, and perhaps even a glimmer of hope that their cooperation might spare them from further harm. The intensity of the situation left no room for deceit or half-truths. Among the women, Comandante Guerra, with her hardened gaze, reveals glimpses of her resilience. She carefully chooses her words, understanding that her survival may depend on her ability to strike a delicate balance between cooperation and self-preservation. The presence of the heavily armed gunmen serves as a backdrop to the narco interrogation. The masked figures, embodying the faceless enforcers of cartel power, exert control and instill fear, ensuring compliance from those who find themselves within their clutches. At this point, silence was shattered by questions and trembling voices. The narco interrogation represented the twisted reality of those embroiled in the drug trade. It lays bare the vulnerability of these captured women, caught between the brutality of the cartels and their own fight for survival. With the unfolding narco interrogation, it became clear that the power dynamics at play. The women admitted their affiliation with Jose Guadalupe Lopez, also known as El Ostion, or the Oyster. The young girl on the left claimed to be his niece, while the woman second from the right confessed to being a halcona, a lookout for the cartel. Comandante Guerra also revealed her association with Commander Gallo from CDG in Altamira. Moving forward, Guerra revealed her role as a halcona, a lookout or hawk in the criminal underworld. The halcones, like Guerra, play a crucial role in the functioning of drug cartels. They serve as the eyes and ears of the organization, stationed in strategic locations to gather intelligence, monitor rival activities, and ensure the smooth flow of illicit operations. The cartels operate within a strict hierarchy, with leaders at the top who oversee the entire enterprise. Below them are commanders or capos, who manage specific territories or regions. These capos, like Commander Gallo mentioned by Comandante Guerra, hold significant power and control over the operations within their assigned areas. The hierarchy further extends to enforcers, foot soldiers, and specialized roles such as halcones. Each role serves a specific purpose, contributing to the overall functioning and protection of the cartel's interests. It is a complex system designed to maximize control and minimize risks. These confessions provided a glimpse glimpse into the intricate web of alliances and rivalries that define the Mexican drug cartels. El Ostión, a prominent figure within El Cartel del Golfo, appears to have connections stretching beyond his immediate circle. Such revelations shed light on the complex dynamics and power struggles within the criminal underworld. At the interrogation, the deed was done. The women were beheaded. What a sad ending. But how did an innocent-looking La Güera Loca end up in this situation? La Güera Loca. La Güera Loca, whose real name was Yesenia Pacheco Ramirez, gained infamy as one of the most ruthless and determined sicarias in the Gulf Cartel, a notorious criminal organization operating in Mexico. What was her upbringing like? La Güera Loca was raised in the harsh realities of a poverty-stricken neighborhood in Tamaulipas, Mexico. Her upbringing was marked by limited opportunities and the constant struggle to make ends meet. Growing up amidst the backdrop of crime and violence, Yesenia developed a hardened resolve and a desperate desire for a better life. In her search for an escape from the confines of her circumstances, Yesenia was drawn into the orbit of the Gulf Cartel, a notorious criminal organization known for its dominance in the northeastern regions of Mexico. The cartel held a strong presence in Tamaulipas, Nuevo León, and parts of Veracruz, exerting its influence through a web of corruption, intimidation, and violence. It was through her connections within her community that Yesenia found her way into the Gulf Cartel. Enticed by the promises of wealth, power, and protection, she willingly crossed the threshold into a world where loyalty and ruthlessness reigned supreme. The allure of quick money and the prospect of escaping, the poverty that plagued her upbringing proved to be irresistible temptations. As Yesenia delved deeper into the operations of the Gulf Cartel, she quickly became acquainted with its inner workings. The cartel's power extended beyond drug trafficking, with involvement in extortion, kidnapping, and human smuggling. Yesenia's introduction to the cartel was a baptism by fire, exposing her to the dark underbelly of organized crime and its brutal consequences. Within the Gulf Cartel, Yesenia began her journey as a hawk, a role that involved acting as a lookout and providing critical information to her superiors. It was during this time that her determination and resourcefulness caught the attention of the cartel's higher-ranking members. Yesenia's unwavering loyalty, coupled with her ability to carry out ruthless acts without hesitation, earned her respect and recognition within the organization. As her reputation grew, so did her responsibilities. Yesenia's ascent within the Gulf Cartel saw her transition from a mere hawk to a formidable sicaria, a high-ranking female assassin known for her fearlessness and deadly precision. Her transformation into La Güera Loca, characterized by her striking appearance and ruthless demeanor, cemented her position as one of the cartel's most feared operatives. However, Yesenia's involvement in the Gulf Cartel came at a steep price. With each step up the cartel's hierarchy, she became a prime target for rival factions seeking to eliminate her and law enforcement agencies determined to bring her to justice. Yesenia's decision to rise through the ranks meant she had willingly painted an even larger target on her back, subjecting herself to constant danger and the never-ending threat of betrayal. To understand how brutal she was, let's talk about the Gulf Cartel. The Gulf Cartel, known in Spanish as Cartel del Golfo, is a formidable criminal organization that has wielded significant power and influence in Mexico for decades. Founded in the late 1960s, the cartel established its stronghold in the northeastern states of Tamaulipas, Nuevo León, and parts of Veracruz. From these territories, the Gulf Cartel orchestrated a wide range of illicit activities, making it one of Mexico's most notorious and powerful criminal syndicates. At its core, the Gulf Cartel is primarily involved in drug trafficking, specializing in the transportation and distribution of narcotics, particularly cocaine, marijuana, and methamphetamine. Operating strategic routes and utilizing an extensive network of contacts, the cartel has established a lucrative drug smuggling operation, ensuring a steady flow of illicit substances into the United States and other global markets. Beyond drug trafficking, the Gulf Cartel has diversified its criminal portfolio to include activities such as extortion, kidnapping, human smuggling, and fuel theft. These illicit enterprises have allowed the cartel to amass enormous wealth and exert control over various sectors of society, including businesses, law enforcement, and political institutions. One of the defining features of the Gulf Cartel's operational strategy is its intricate web of corruption. The cartel has successfully infiltrated government agencies, law enforcement organizations, and judicial systems, enabling it to operate with relative impunity. By bribing or intimidating key officials and individuals, the cartel ensures the protection of its members and the preservation of its criminal activities. In terms of territorial control, the Gulf Cartel maintains a firm grip on its stronghold regions. Tamaulipas, particularly the city of Reynosa, has been a key battleground for cartel influence, with violent confrontations erupting between the Gulf Cartel and rival criminal organizations vying for control of drug trafficking routes. The cartel has also also expanded its reach into neighboring states, such as Nuevo León, where it has sought to establish dominance and extend its criminal operations. So how do they recruit new members? Well, the Gulf Cartel's recruitment methods are diverse and adaptable. The organization employs coercion, bribery, and family ties to bring new members into its fold. However, one notable aspect of its recruitment strategy is the preference for determined, innocent-looking women like La Güera Loca. The cartel recognizes the advantage of utilizing women who can blend into society more easily and exploit gender stereotypes to their advantage. La Flaca, another notorious female member of the Gulf Cartel, exemplified this preference, as her unassuming appearance masked her deadly capabilities. Within the Gulf Cartel's hierarchical structure, climbing the ranks from a hawk to a sicaria, as Yesenia Pacheco did, is no easy feat. It requires not only a willingness to commit heinous acts, but also unwavering loyalty, strategic thinking, and a capacity for violence. Rising through the ranks places individuals like Yesenia under intense scrutiny, as power struggles and rivalries within the cartel make every step up the hierarchy a perilous one. Gulf Cartel versus Los Zetas. The rivalry between the Gulf Cartel and Los Zetas, two of Mexico's most powerful and brutal criminal organizations, has been marked by violence, territorial disputes, and a quest for dominance within the Mexican drug trade. Understanding the historical and geographical context is crucial to comprehend the magnitude of this deadly feud. The Gulf Cartel, founded in the late 1930s, established its stronghold in northeastern Mexico, particularly in the states of Tamaulipas and Nuevo León. With its extensive network and control over drug trafficking routes, the cartel amassed significant power and wealth over the years. Its influence extended to areas such as Veracruz, Coahuila, and parts of the United States. In the year 1997, a faction within the Gulf Cartel known as Los Zetas emerged as a group of highly trained former Mexican Special Forces operatives. Initially, the Gulf Cartel employed Los Zetas as enforcers, utilizing their military expertise to protect their drug trafficking operations. However, a power struggle ensued, leading to a violent split between the Gulf Cartel and Los Zetas, eventually transforming the latter into a separate and ruthless criminal organization. Los Zetas quickly gained a reputation for their brutality, unmatched by any other criminal group in Mexico. Their members were notorious for their use of extreme violence, including beheadings, dismemberments, and public displays of their victims. The sheer brutality and love for retribution that Los Zetas exhibited became their trademark, striking fear into the hearts of their rivals and the general population. The rivalry between the Gulf Cartel and Los Zetas intensified as they fought for control over lucrative drug trafficking routes and territories. The strategic location of northeastern Mexico, with its proximity to the U.S. border, made it a critical region for the transportation of drugs into the lucrative American market. Both cartels sought to maintain their dominance over key smuggling routes, leading to violent clashes that resulted in numerous casualties. The rivalry between these two criminal organizations was not limited to violent confrontations on the streets. The fight for control extended into prisons, where members of the Gulf Cartel and Los Zetas engaged in deadly battles to assert their dominance. These prison clashes often resulted in high death tolls, further fueling the cycle of violence and retribution between the two factions. The violence between the Gulf Cartel and Los Zetas escalated to unprecedented levels, with innocent civilians caught in the crossfire. Brutal acts of violence, such as massacres and kidnappings, became alarmingly common in the regions where these cartels operated. The impact on local communities was devastating, as fear and insecurity permeated everyday life. The rivalry between the Gulf Cartel and Los Zetas was further complicated by the involvement of Mexican law enforcement and government officials. Corruption within these institutions enabled both cartels to operate with relative impunity, as key figures turned a blind eye to their criminal activities. This corruption fueled the power struggles within the cartels, as they sought to influence and control key positions within law enforcement and the government. One of the notable incidents in the ongoing rivalry between the Gulf Cartel and Los Zetas occurred in 2010, when a group of armed men believed to be affiliated with Los Zetas massacred 72 migrants from Central and South America in the Mexican state of Tamaulipas. The gruesome event, known as the San Fernando Massacre, shocked the nation and drew international attention to the cartel's ruthlessness and disregard for human life. In another instance in 2011, the leader of Los Zetas, Heriberto Lascano, commonly known as El Lasca, was killed in a shootout with Mexican Navy Special Forces. This significant blow to Los Zetas' leadership weakened their structure structure, but the organization remained a formidable force in the Mexican drug trade. The death of El Lazca sparked internal power struggles within Los Zetas, further fueling the violence between rival factions vying for control. The rivalry between the Gulf Cartel and Los Zetas continued to evolve as both organizations adapted their strategies to survive and maintain their dominance. The cartels diversified their criminal activities, engaging in extortion, kidnapping, human trafficking, and other illicit enterprises to expand their revenue streams. The competition between them extended beyond drug trafficking as they sought to control various criminal markets and exploit every opportunity for financial gain. Geographically, the rivalry between the Gulf Cartel and Los Zetas extended beyond their traditional strongholds. Their influence spread to other regions of Mexico, such as Veracruz, Guerrero, and Michoacan, as they expanded their operations and sought to establish new territories. This expansion led to clashes with other criminal groups, resulting in a complex web of rivalries and alliances within the Mexican underworld. The brutality of Los Zetas became notorious during this period. Their penchant for extreme violence, coupled with their militaristic tactics and training, allowed them to exert dominance over rival factions. They employed fear as a strategic weapon, sending a chilling message to anyone who dared to challenge their authority. Public displays of mutilated bodies and public executions served as a warning to both rivals and the general population. In contrast, the Gulf Cartel relied on its long-established networks and alliances to maintain its position within the criminal landscape. However, their brutality was no less significant. The Gulf Cartel employed ruthless tactics to assert its dominance, utilizing its influence over corrupt officials and leveraging its territorial control to eliminate threats. The rivalry between the Gulf Cartel and Los Zetas showcased the sheer brutality and ruthlessness that characterized the Mexican drug trade. The battle for supremacy led to unimaginable acts of violence, leaving a trail of destruction and suffering in its wake. Both cartels demonstrated their capacity for extreme brutality and retribution, instilling fear and ensuring compliance from those who crossed their paths. In the midst of this violent rivalry, La Guerra Loca found herself in a precarious position. Her next move, whatever it may be, would undoubtedly have far-reaching consequences. The Gulf Cartel's ongoing struggle against the brutal and vengeful Los Zetas posed a significant risk to her safety and well-being. Live by the sword. Guerra lived a life that proved the phrase, living by the sword, a phrase often associated with warriors and individuals like Guerra, who rely on violence and illegality. Her life encompasses the concept of karma, the universal law of cause and effect. She was known to be a very dangerous and callous cartel member. She never had a second guess before executing inhumane actions. One of Guerra's actions that were recorded happened when blogs around Mexico uploaded a disgusting video of her executing one of the Zetas members. Although the video trended online, but nobody could for sure tell where the video was recorded and how it started circulating, but we could see Guerra in the video beheading a member of the rival cartel. In the video, she was being taught how to carry out the beheading, and she did it with joy in her face. After the whole process, she carried the head of the victim like a trophy. Yes, this is who Guerra was. The question is, should all these be overlooked? That is where Karma decided to punish the female commando. Karma came for Guerra and ensured that her actions did not go unnoticed and unpunished. Just as a swinging sword strikes its target, her deeds rebounded upon her. Guerra planted violence and she reaped the same. She knew this when it was her turn to be executed the same way she beheaded a Zetas member. She didn't force or fight the pain. She only stayed calm until the Zetas dismembered her. Thank you for staying glued to your screen. If you want to watch me expose even more dirty underworld activities, click on a card on your screen. Trust me, you're not ready for this next video.